Good day to you, friend. I will here continue something I started in a previous video, reading from the Mahāvaipulya Buddhāvataṃsaka Sūtra, the Great Flower Adornment Sūtra, Great Expansive Buddha's Flower Adornment Sūtra. Sometimes also called the Bodhisattva Pitaka, the Bodhisattva basket, because of its comprehensiveness. This is something I failed to mention in the previous video. Very influential, there was a Chinese school of Buddhism, the Huayan school, which was the Flower Adornment School, which was based completely on this, a very influential school. And the Avataṃsaka Sūtra can be taken to be also one of the foundational texts of Zen or Chan. Very influential. So I'll continue. I'll read another kind of question from Mañjuśrī to another bodhisattva, and then the bodhisattva's answer with commentary. I hope it's not like less confusing than informative. Please enjoy. So at that time, Mañjuśrī Bodhisattva asked Foremost Wealth Bodhisattva, "Son of the Buddha, all beings are but non-beings. Why then does the Tathagata adapt to their time, adapt to their lifespans, adapt to their bodies, adapt to their actions, adapt to their understandings, adapt to their discourse, adapt to their mental dispositions, adapt to their expedients, adapt to their reasoning, and adapt to their contemplation in manifesting his body for the sake of beings such as these, to teach and train them?" At that time, Foremost Wealth Bodhisattva responded with verses, saying, "This is the realm of those who delight in quiescence and in extensive learning. I shall now expound on this for the worthy one. May the worthy one now listen to and absorb this. Analytically contemplating one's own body, who is there in this that constitutes a self? If one is able to understand it in this way, he will comprehend the existence or non-existence of a self. This body is artificially established and has no place in which it abides. One who truly understands this body remains free of any attachment to it. If one thoroughly contemplates the body and then clearly sees everything in it, one realizes that dharmas are all empty and false, and does not produce mental discriminations about it. Who causes the arising of the lifespan, and also who causes it to withdraw and be extinguished? Like the appearance of a wheel formed by a twirling firebrand, its beginning and end cannot be known. The wise are able to contemplate and realize that everything that exists is impermanent, and that all dharmas are empty and selfless, thus becoming forever detached from all signs. The many karmic retributions arise in accordance with actions. Like the dreams, they are not truly real. In every mind moment they are always undergoing destruction, just as it was before, so too it is with what follows. Dharmas as they are perceived in the world are ruled solely by the mind. As befits one's understanding, one seizes on the many signs. Due to inverted views, one's perceptions do not accord with reality. Whatever is discussed in the world is all the product of discriminations. There has never been any dharma that has succeeded in penetrating the nature of dharmas. It is by the power of the subject and object of perception that the many different dharmas are born, and are swiftly destroyed without a moment's pause. In each succeeding mind moment, they are all just like this. And then for the commentary. What does Mañjuśrī ask? "Son of the Buddha, all beings are but non-beings. Why then does the Tathagata adapt to them and all of their dispositions and so on? In in manifesting his body for the sake of beings such as these, to teach and train them." We could take this question to mean why are there such distinctions again between beings? But then why does the Tathagata, if beings are non-beings, if they don't exist, if there is no one who suffers, there's no one who suffers in any mind stream, no beings, then why does the Tathagata kind of, adapt to them and try to teach and train them and remove that suffering? I think this is the question. It's a bit difficult to say why, like, or how does Foremost Wealth Bodhisattva's answer, how does it answer these particular questions, like this question? But let's go with the commentary. Let's see what we can garner from it. So Foremost Wealth Bodhisattva answers, like first he says, like these are good. This is the realm of those who delight in quiescence and in extensive learning. I think he means like, these questions are in that realm. It's like a deep question, and he shall expound on this for the worthy one. And then he goes with his answer. Analytically contemplating one's own body, who is there in this that constitutes a self? If one is able to understand it in this way, he will comprehend the existence or non-existence of a self. This is very basic, we could say foundational, basic. If one contemplates one's body and explores it, one cannot find, who is there in this that constitutes a self? One cannot find anything that feels like this is me. It can feel like, this is mine, or this is somehow linked to me, or a part of me, but not me. One cannot find the essence of the self. The self itself is not to be found in the body, no matter how hard one looks. Who is there in this that constitutes a self? If one is able to understand it in this way, he says, he will comprehend the existence or non-existence of a self. Like, seeing that the self is not to be found, one does not, just jump into that what Mañjuśrī here kind of, says, that beings are non-beings in this, and that the self does not exist, because it's beyond existence and non-existence, as I said explained the previous video. The existence and non-existence are just, they're artificial designations. They're just fabricated kind of, they're words, they're meanings, and they are not, the phenomena, reality itself. They're just meanings attributed to it, and self is actually beyond these, but also because it cannot be found. So in some sense, there is no referent to the word self. Like, we cannot find anything that feels like, okay, this is the self, even if we try. So we cannot even designate existence to it, nor non-existence, because it's not to be found. So it neither exists nor doesn't exist. This is something that this point is kind of already in the Pali Canon, actually, like when the Buddha refuses to answer questions sometimes of whether the self exists or doesn't exist, because he feels that both answers, that it exists or doesn't exist, both have limitations, and both can be unhelpful. And Mahayana goes deeper in the sense that it's not just unhelpful, but actually, like, one cannot say these things of the self, accurately, as the self is beyond words and these things. And he continues, this body is artificially established and has no place in which it abides. One who truly understands this body remains free of any attachment to it. So this body is artificially established, means it's fabricated. Like the phenomenal body, both as I see, like when I look at my body, I look at my hand, these phenomena are fabricated by this mind stream, we could say. Like that kind of sense of agency or responsibility, that's a fabrication too. I think it's, somewhat more accurate to say that they're fabricated in this mind stream. But they're still, fabricated. They're mind dependent. So in this sense, artificially established. And also the distinction that this is body and this is not. That's also artificially established. So the dividing line between body and non-body is artificially established. The body is artificially established and has no place in which it abides. It cannot be, actually, the body cannot be found anywhere. No matter how much I look at the body or feel the body, I cannot find the body anywhere, or like an actual distinguishing line. It's blurry, and it kind of, we just name it the body. It doesn't kind of, exist in itself as an inherently existing thing. One who truly understands this body remains free of any attachment to it. This is very good, very informative, and kind of very points to something very experiential. If one contemplates the body and observes it, examines it thoroughly, and tries to look for a self and finds no self there, one can ask oneself, okay, am I worried? Now, if I'm worried about getting wounded or kind of paralyzed or like losing an arm or something, am I worried for the sake of this body? Am I worried for the sake of this body? Is that what I'm worried for? That this body that is not self kind of would be harmed? And the answer is no. Usually it's no. I am worried for myself. I'm worried that I will lose an arm. I will be paralyzed. I cannot act anymore. Or like, I will be in pain. Not that the body is in pain. So like one is kind of, if one understands this body in this sense as no self, one remains free of any attachment to it. So the attachment to bodily harm and bodily functioning, and this body in general, it grows less. And eventually one can be free of any attachment to it. And he continues, if one thoroughly contemplates the body and then clearly sees everything in it, one realizes that dharmas are all empty and false, and does not produce mental discriminations about it. This, in turn, I think points to anicca practice more than anatta practice. Because if one also contemplates the body and tries to look for phenomena, not self, but phenomena, tries to look for dharmas, phenomena, particular, distinct individual phenomena, one cannot find them. They arise and disappear immediately. It's just constant change. One cannot pinpoint anything singular. So in this sense, if one thoroughly contemplates the body and clearly sees everything in it with this kind of, this lens of trying to look for particular phenomena in the midst of all of this impermanence and change, one realizes that phenomena are all empty and false. They cannot be found. And one does not produce mental discriminations about it. So this is also very informative and practical, we could say, actually. So, yeah, one finds the emptiness of phenomena. He continues, who causes the arising of the lifespan, and also who causes it to withdraw and be extinguished? Like the appearance of a wheel formed by a twirling firebrand, its beginning and end cannot be known. I think these 2 points, actually, the fact that it's samsara, it's the totality of reality that causes the lifespan, and it's the totality of reality that causes it to withdraw and be extinguished, because with this analogy, like the appearance of a wheel formed by a twirling firebrand, so like an entertainer with a firebrand is a stick, we could say, with like fire on both ends of it, like this kind of stick on fire. And like if one twirls it, like it's like an ouroboros. It's like a snake eating its tail. Its beginning and end cannot be known. The beginning and end of a circle cannot be known. Like where does it begin? Where does it end? It just goes on infinitely. Like and this is an analogy. This kind of beginning and end cannot be known is something that's usually said about samsara, about reality itself, about suchness. Its beginning and end cannot be known. This is very a common phrase in that sense, common kind of designation for samsara itself. So I think what is meant here is samsara, and the question, who causes the arising of the lifespan? It's no one in particular. It's not even the mind, like a particular mind stream. It's the totality of everything. And also, who causes it to withdraw and be extinguished? Again, nothing in particular. There's no one or no phenomenon, no person, no agent in particular that can be seen to withdraw and extinguish one's life. It's the totality of everything. We could say it's karma. Here, this is one way to understand karma. It's kind of the functioning, whatever laws it follows, the functioning of samsara. Its laws, its narrative, logic, whatever. That's karma, and karma causes everything. That's the kind of thing here with the causality thing. It might be good to kind of, to really make this clear. Karma is the cause of everything. He continues, the wise are able to contemplate and realize that everything that exists is impermanent, and that all dharmas are empty and selfless, thus becoming forever detached from all signs. So yeah, here, this points to the same impermanence, anicca thing, like if one contemplates phenomena and sees that, they're impermanent, they're constantly changing, they don't have permanence even for a moment, that's the kind of thing with impermanence. Permanence would be that something abides for some time. It doesn't have to be permanent like forever, it just abides for some time. Nothing like that can be found. Nothing abides even for a moment. Even for a moment. So in this sense, all phenomena are empty and selfless. Nothing can be found there. We have appearance, and that's the irony, and that's the kind of the interesting thing about this. Appearance appears and it flows, but we cannot find anything that kind of appears. We just have the flow. And so the wise become forever detached from all signs. So signs are names, like meaning and so on. That, this is, body, or, chest, or like, this particular vibration in my chest, this particular feeling there. Whatever one could name, they're all kind of empty. So the wise become detached from all signs. They still might use them. Again, like in the Pali Canon, for example, there's this, the Buddha makes the point that we are not supposed to end all conceptualization or naming. Or, conceptualize in a very weird way, but to conceptualize skillfully. So, of course, the wise still conceptualize, and they see, function in things like, like I have a laptop, I know how to use it, or like, and even like a very wise person in this sense would then probably know how to use a laptop if they have that experience. But they're detached from the signs. They understand that it's an arbitrary designation, that it's a laptop, and so on. But the Foremost Wealth Bodhisattva continues. The many karmic retributions arise in accordance with actions. Like dreams, they are not truly real. In every mind moment, they are always undergoing destruction. Just as it was before, so too it is with what follows. This is interesting. The many karmic retributions arise in accordance with actions. So this is that, even though, like there's no self to be found, and the mind stream is empty and selfless in that sense, still in part of that appearance, there's an appearance of actions. Like one has actions, and ironically enough, like it's a bit of a cruel trick of fate that like everything we do is ultimately caused by the totality of karma, of reality. So we particular mind streams are not in this sense responsible for anything. There's no agent there. It just arises out of conditioning, and the conditioning is kind of completely created by the totality of reality. Everything we have, and everything we have learned, and everything we do, and all conditioning we have, and all habits and so on, all impulses, they have been given to this mind stream by the totality of karma, by the totality of reality and of samsara. Like, but still, like if there's action manifesting in this particular mind stream, or me, for example, killing someone, then karmic retributions arise. Like that's just the drama. That's in this metaphysics, that's just the drama. I could be sent to a hell, like this mind stream will manifest hell after this life, for example, and it's kind of it's just how it goes. But the kind of thing there is that there's no being ultimately to kind of suffer there. So it's just a drama of suffering. So it's not that bad maybe, but it's still kind of there's a bit of it's quite merciless, we could say. He continues, like dreams, they are not truly real. So yeah, I mean, like there are karmic retributions, but they are not real. They're just appearance. There's appearance. The flow of phenomena is always kind of dream-like because it's fabricated by the mind stream, or of course the mind stream is in complete dependence on karma. In every mind moment, they are always undergoing destruction. So like this is the thing. Destruction happens all the time. Like they appear and they are destroyed all the time. Just as it was before, so too it is with what follows. I think this means, it's been that way always, and it will be that way in the future with karmic retributions also. They're kind of empty and cannot be found. But there might be something a little bit deeper here as well. Just as as it was before, so too it is with what follows. It can mean also that the past, which is empty, and the future, which is empty, they're both kind of, equally empty in some sense. Something like this might be right here. I have an intuition, but I can't really access it. I'll move on. The dharmas as they are perceived in the world are ruled solely by the mind. As befits one's understanding, one seizes on the many signs. Due to inverted views, one's perceptions do not accord with reality. Okay. The dharmas as they are perceived in the world are ruled solely by the mind. All dharmas, all phenomena, like phenomenal reality as we experience it, this flow of appearance, that we could say I, conventionally me, I, selfless, but what is experienced in this mind stream, this appearance is dependent, completely dependent on this mind stream, this mind. They are fabricated, they're mind dependent. They're not independent, they don't arise, like they do not cause each other, and ultimately, of course, like they kind of, there's no agency in the mind that kind of, pushes a button and decides to make them appear. They just kind of appear from the mind. But they're mind dependent in that sense. They flow from the mind. They're fabricated by the mind. In this sense, they're ruled solely by the mind. I think this points also to the fact that the phenomena do not cause each other. Like the appearance doesn't cause, if we distinguish parts of it, they don't cause each other. It's kind of only the mind can cause them to appear, to cause phenomena to appear. Phenomena cannot cause phenomena to appear. Only the mind can cause them to appear. I think this is what is meant here. As befits one's understanding, one seizes on the many signs. Due to inverted views, one's perceptions do not accord with reality. As befits one's understanding, and here understanding might not be we don't mean just good understanding. It means that what is meant here is one's beliefs about reality, one's views, how one understands the world, how one views the world. As befits one's understanding, so according to one's views, one seizes on the many signs. So one kind of fabricates different kind of signs or names and meaning, like different kinds of distinctions in reality. One seizes on the many signs, an infinitude of understanding, and an infinitude of kind of viewing things as something, as distinct, events as distinct, saying, this was I failed here, okay, this was shameful, this was good, I was praised. All of that is signs in this sense. They're all kind of fabricated meanings. So as befits one's understanding, one seizes on the many, many, many signs. One creates a worldview. As Robert Beyer said it, in one's acts of perception, one weaves worlds. Each act of perception is a weaver of worlds. So and that world is of course very, very, there's stars and black holes. All of these are signs. Due to inverted views, one's perceptions do not accord with reality. So this kind of just points that these are not reality itself. These are signs, and tathata itself is signless. It's signless. It's nameless and signless. And that we could say is kind of reality, but this is a kind of a funky thing, we could say. It doesn't mean that names are unreal either. Names are, but they're just names. They're not phenomenal reality. They're not tathata or suchness as such. But it doesn't mean that the names are not real. They're just like a different thing. They're separate from this. This is the point. Distinction between nama and rupa. Between nama, names, meaning, conceptualization, and rupa, the flow of phenomena. They're distinct. So as one has this kind of arbitrary understanding of reality, these kind of various signs, one seizes on the many signs. This does not accord with kind of tathata. It's not tathata itself, which is nameless and signless. And these kind of, here these views are seen as inverted. But the thing is that, one is not supposed to just rest in a non-conceptual space either. What is meant here as inverted is that they don't accord with suchness. As before in the previous video, there was this verse: the Dharma eye is inconceivable. Vision vision such as this is not inverted. So the Dharma eye that sees kind of things as through all conceptualizations and through all names, that's kind of not inverted in this sense. But any other view is inverted. Although they can be useful. That doesn't mean that they don't accord with suchness. It doesn't mean they're not useful. Okay, two more of these verses. First, whatever is discussed in the world is all the product of discriminations. There has never been any dharma that has succeeded in penetrating the nature of dharmas. Whatever is discussed in the world is all the product of discriminations. All language, all discussion, all names again, all signs. It's all just signs. It's all nama, naming, meaning. It's all the product of discriminating things as separate, and that is always arbitrary. It's always kind of, egocentric, anthropocentric, life-centric, whatever. It's just, and cultural-centric. It's all kind of based on conditioning, and in that sense it's arbitrary, because the conditioning could have so many different forms. There has never been any dharma that has succeeded in penetrating the nature of dharmas. Here, Dharamitra Bhikshu, the translator, the first instance of dharma, there has never been any dharma. He does not capitalize dharma, which kind of means that in his understanding, I think, unless it's a mistake, what is talked about here is a phenomenon, because the word dharma can mean many things. It can mean a teaching, a doctrine, it can mean the path, or it can mean a phenomenon. And so, because he doesn't capitalize dharma here, I think he means a phenomenon. However, I think this is more understandable if we would understand this as teaching. Because, there has never been any dharma, if this is like teaching, there has never been any teaching that has succeeded in penetrating the nature of dharmas. So the nature of phenomena. Here the dharmas would mean phenomena. So no teaching can penetrate the nature of dharmas. I think this is the way we should understand this, because, of course, the previous part of the verse, but whatever is discussed in the world is all the product of discriminations. It makes complete sense if he continues. There has never been any teaching that has succeeded in penetrating the nature of phenomena. So this just means, no teaching. It's all fingers pointing to the moon. I think this is how we should understand this. And finally, it is by the power of the subject and object of perception that the many different dharmas are born, and are swiftly destroyed without a moment's pause. In each succeeding mind moment, they are all just like this. So here, of course, the point we have already talked about, the many different dharmas are born and are swiftly destroyed without a moment's pause. Again, there's no pause there. The phenomena don't exist even for a moment. They are immediately destroyed. Rise and fall immediately at the same moment. This is the interesting thing. At the same moment they appear and they're destroyed. Not moments pause there. But there's another point here, of course. It is by the power of the subject and object of perception that the many different dharmas are born and destroyed. So this is the subject-object distinction. I think this means that that's that's in very basically the appearance of phenomenal reality is dependent on subtle clinging to, for example, the subject-object distinction. That one is the idea that one is, on a subtle level, one is a being existing in a world. That there is this kind of self-world distinction. That this is at least a part of why dharmas arise, why phenomenal reality arises. And this kind of makes sense because the collapsing of the subject-object distinction is part of often of kind of moving towards nirodha, to cessation experiences. I think this is what is meant here. That without that distinction, that there is anyone who could be even interested. There's no mind, no self, nothing that could be interested or cling to anything, nothing that could exist in a world of phenomena. And that there's no separation here. Also that there are no phenomena, that it's all fabricated. That too, that everything is empty. It's all just both subject and object are completely empty and fabricated. It's seeing that powerfully and potently, and letting go of the idea that either one of them has any intrinsic existence, that this can cause cessation, that this can cause them to kind of the dharmas are no longer born, for a moment at least, and are not destroyed, because the subtle clinging that comes from the idea that these are somehow real has collapsed. Okay, that was this set of verses. There's many more to come. I like this idea, actually. I think these are very good topics, and also I myself feel that the commentary is quite important, because many of the verses as such are quite difficult to understand. So, and I hope you also enjoyed it, both the text, the ancient venerable text, and also the commentary. So thank you for watching or listening, and I bid you adieu. I hope you will have a good, wonderful time today and in days to come. And blessings to you. Be well, friend.